to Simply Fun's online school of playology. Silly Squirrel wants to talk, but he'll need to find the right words. So put on your alphabetic thinking cap and be ready to make fast matches with Simply Fun's Nut and Nuttier. Nut and Nuttier is a fun and fast-paced game for people ages 7 and up and can be played with 2 to 6 players. Nut and Nuttier uses 2 skills: letter recognition, as players look quickly at the cards and race to be the first player to touch the cards with the matching letters, and phonics, as players think of words that start with the letter shown on the card. To set up the game, shuffle all 50 of the Nut and Nuttier cards. The deck of cards includes 2 of all the letters in the alphabet except W. On each card is both a letter and a squirrel. Deal 1 card face up in the center of the table. This card starts the center stack. Deal the remaining cards to all players. Depending on the number of players, some may start with 1 more card than the others. Players place their cards face down in a stack in front of them. This is their personal stash of cards. The first player to puff their cheeks like a squirrel holding nuts goes first. The object of the game is to be the first player to run out of cards in your personal stash. On your turn, flip over the top card from your personal stash and place it face up on top of the center stack. All players then look quickly to see if either the letter or the squirrel matches the card already there. If there's no match, your turn is over. If there's no match, but a player puts their hand on the card anyway, that player must take the pile of cards and add it to their personal stash. They place 1 card face up to start a new center stack, and now your turn is over. If there is a match, all players at the same time try to be the first to put their hand on the card. If 2 players touch the card at the same time, the player whose hand covers the largest area on the card gets it and must start or continue a nutty sequence. If there's no existing nutty sequence, the player starts a sequence by saying a word that starts with the letter on the matched card. In the case of matching letter Fs, the player might say funny. This becomes the first word of a new nutty sequence, which continues to grow in length match after match as long as the players say it correctly. If there is an existing nutty sequence, the player must repeat all the words from memory in the correct order, and then add a new word that starts with the letter on the card she just matched. For example, if the next card after the 2 Fs had matching squirrels rather than letters, and the top letter was N, then the player who made the match might say, funny nutty. And if the following card matched 2 S's, the player might say, funny nutty squirrel. If a player makes a mistake when repeating a sequence or says a new word that starts with an incorrect letter, then that sequence ends and the next player to make a match will start a new one. If the player completes the nutty sequence correctly, that player wins that match and gets to pick up the center stack of cards, handing out the cards any way they want to the opposing players, who must add them to their own personal stashes. Maybe the winner gives them out equally. Maybe they give all of them to one player who seems to be close to getting rid of all their cards. There is strategy involved. Once the cards are given out, the player places one of their personal stash cards face up on the table to start a new center stack. Now their turn is over, and the next player starts their turn. If a player makes a mistake during the nutty sequence, they must take all the center stack cards into their own personal stash. Then they place a card face up on the table to start a new center stack. Now their turn is over, and it's the next player's turn. Rounds continue until one player runs out of all their personal stash card and wins the game. Think fast, move fast, and remember the nutty sequence words with Simply Fun's Nut and Nuttier.